start again. What we want to say to you, we really want you to hear this, is that sometimes the path of least resistance, we'll give you an example. Let's say that you want enough financial resources, to do the things that you want to do. So that all sounds really nice, doesn't it? And then you think, but I don't have the money to do everything I want to do, so you just threw some resistance on your trail. Now you would argue with us, yeah, because I faced reality, Abraham. I'm not like you. I can't just pretend that it's other than it is. And we say, we're not pretending, we know. We know there's just no resistance on our trail like there sometimes is on yours. So you've got some resistance. You want money, but you believe that you're going to have to work for it. So there's some resistance in that. And not only that, you also believe that you have to do this job that you don't want to do. So now just follow with us just a little bit, because once you get this, as we give it to you in the beginning of this day, then everything else that we say will be easier for you to hear. And you're going to leave here with so much less resistance than you've ever experienced before. Things will begin flowing to you much more easily. You're going to like it. So you want money. That seems like the path of least resistance, because you could trade chickens and furniture. You could trade services, but it is not portable. It's not convenient. So you've decided that you want some dollars. That's the path of least resistance. And then you think, but I have to go to work. So there's resistance in that. Now, we want to ask you, you can sort this out. Which is the path of least resistance? To go to work and get some dollars, or to not go to work and not have any dollars? So in that sort of clear scenario, the path of least resistance is easy to understand, isn't it? So let's say you follow the path of least resistance because you like to live well and you like to eat food and things like that. And so you follow the path of least resistance, and you go to work. And as you go to work, you receive some dollars. But then there are things about that work that you don't like. People are mean to you maybe, or they don't understand you. And as you focus upon it, you start activating resistance along your path. So now you've put yourself in a really hard place. You want to work, you don't really, but you want to work because you want money, but you don't want there to be a hard time. So now this seems like a hard choice. You want something that you believe that you can't have. What we want you to understand is you could smooth that path out for yourself more than you know. You could look for things at work that you do like, and you could carve out a path of lesser resistance. And the more you do that, the more law of attraction will show you other things that you like also. So your path gets easier and easier. Esther was watching a scenario in a family that she loves so much. And there were several members of the family, and Esther was really contemplating this path of least resistance stuff that we keep talking about. And so Esther was watching two kids in this family squabbling with each other. And Esther thought, my path of least resistance is to get the hell out of here. She wasn't enjoying it. And then she thought, but I don't want to hurt their feelings. Now, which is the path of least resistance? To hurt your feelings or to hurt their feelings? That's something that you really want to think about, isn't it? So anyway, Esther did what she usually does. She chose to hurt her own feelings. It really was easier under the circumstances. She chose the path of least resistance. And then she smoothed out her path by thinking, I'm going to observe this through different eyes. I'm going to observe this through the idea of path of least resistance. So she watched this little boy antagonizing his older sister. And she thought, if I were her, my path of least resistance would be to just go to my room. But she watched, and that was not the choice that was taken. Instead, the path of more resistance was taken to sort of volley back. So now it was game on. More resistance, more words, more sort of poking, more seemingly deliberate antagonism. But now Esther is on her path of least resistance because she's found a way to be there and not be out of sorts, because now she's observing something she really wants to understand. See how her path is smoothing out? So now she's watching the other paths. So now the little girl is getting more and more frustrated. Her volume is coming up. Her resentment is getting more. And now she wants to involve her mother. Her mother just stepped onto the path of more resistance. Now it seems that mother is the one that should sort this out. And Esther is thinking, if I were mother, I'd go to my room. I would not make their paths of least resistance mine. I would not try to sort out the impossible, because you can never get to the bottom of that. You can never figure out who started what or what. All you can do in any moment in time is take your path of least resistance. So Esther watched. Mother did pretty good for a while. She did not want to get in the middle of that. But she's been in the middle of plenty of that. So she can only take so much. And then she jumped right in the middle of the path of more resistance. And Esther thought, ooh, this is really getting good. I'm starting to understand this path of least resistance thing. Now, what we want you to hear from this, and so you'd like to hear a happy ending. Well, no one died yet. And of course, it all blew over. But it was more unpleasant for everyone involved than it needed to be, because no one in the scenario is clear at understanding that it's a good thing to take the path of least resistance. Now, here's what we really want you to understand. When you're in the middle of action, when you're in the middle of conversations, when you're in the middle of events, you're already pretty far down the path. We want you to take away from this gathering the understanding of finding the path of least resistance at an earlier stage, maybe even before it's in this action. Because you see, there's a vibration that is either in alignment with who you really are or isn't. You're in the moment, in the thoughts that you are thinking, in alignment, in full alignment with who you really are, or to some lesser degree, not in alignment with who you really are. So this vibration that is at the root of everything that you are about, and everything that you're living, and everything that everybody else is too, and everything that you're feeling, this vibration, because law of attraction is gaining momentum, this vibration, whatever it is that you've got going on, is going to evolve. It's going to escalate. It's going to become more. And the first thing that it becomes that is something that you can recognize, we could call it a manifestation. The first thing that you can recognize is a thought that occurs to you, because thoughts are manifestations. You're taking vibration and you are receiving these vibrations at an unconscious level and translating them into something that is meaningful to you. That's how vibrations turn to thoughts, and that's how thoughts turn to things. In other words, this is the evolution of all things, all thought. It's what creation is about. And you are the creator who is molding the clay with your focus. Esther and her friend heard a mother the other day trying to get her kids organized to get on the airplane. And she said to them, now we're going to get on. Hocus pocus focus. And Esther thought, I like that. I'm taking that with me. Hocus pocus focus. Because it does become magic when you focus. There's a power and a clarity in that. So as this vibration, as you're focused upon it more, this vibration is going to become a thought and then a feeling. But the thought and feeling come so seemingly simultaneously that there you are, having a thought that you're feeling about. And that is momentum. And then as you ponder it more, it becomes words and then behavior and then... So what happens to so many is that you're trying to sort out your path of least resistance over here once behavior is happening, once manifestations are happening. And it's harder for you to really take the path of non-resistance or the path of least resistance because there's so much momentum that's already got you all hooked in. Do you see what we're getting at? Someone asked us a question not long ago. best question that we were ever asked, which allowed us to give the best answer we've ever given, the most satisfying answer that we've ever given. Abraham, how do you get rid of doubt before it starts? No, don't. Annoying, we know. How do you remove yourself from unpleasant situations before you get into them? How do you not end up at a job you don't like before you get there? Well, we know that's all well and good if you just got here and you haven't been doing anything, you have no relationships. But what do you do if you're already involved in all of these things that you are observing that already have you hooked in to conditions that don't feel good? All you got to do is understand the process. All you got to do is, from wherever you are, take the path of least resistance. Not try to figure out what path somebody else is on, and not measure what they're doing to what you're doing. That's what these kids were doing. In other words, neither one of them could feel clearly what they wanted because they were much more interested in what the other one was doing, or what the other one was getting, or what the other one was living, or what the other one had. In other words, there's this impossible thing that you do when you're trying to figure out what you should do based upon what others are doing. And the reason that it doesn't work is because we love you so much, it's none of your business what anybody else is doing. There's no vibrational connection between what they're doing and what you should do, because you have your own guidance system. You were source energy before you came into this physical body. And a part of you is here in this physical body. And that non-physical part of you is here with you. So when you sift through the details of life, and you know what you don't want, which helps you to know what you do want, you launch a rocket that is a path of no resistance. We're not kidding. When you know what you don't want, you launch a rocket of what you do want. But you don't know you've done it because it's a vibrational rocket. It's early in the process. You can't see it yet, or hear it, smell it, or taste it, or touch it. So most times you don't even recognize that you've launched it, but the source energy part of you rode that rocket of no resistance and stands in that vibrational place of whatever it is that you're asking for. Whether it's an empire, whether it's a great idea, whether it's a big pile of money, whether it's living the life that you want to live, a relationship, a circumstance, an event, it doesn't matter what it is. You're launching those rockets, you're building this vibrational reality, and it exists, and you got to figure out what your path of least resistance is to it. And we're here to tell you it's a path that always feels better. When you are out in this extension where you haven't been sensitive and now you're standing in the middle of a conversation, and it seems that anything you do doesn't feel good, you've waited too long. I'm between a rock and a hard place, you say. Anything I do doesn't feel good. And we say, well, you could have cleaned it up sooner, but it doesn't matter that you didn't, because you still can clean it up. Just don't try to do it right now while it feels like you have no options. So what we're saying to you is, some things that may sound a little contradictory to you, they're not. You do always have options. And you are at various times, at varying degrees of being sensitive enough to know what your options are. But if we can just get across to you in a way that you can really feel it and want to know it, that there always is a better feeling choice every single time. And that if you will try a little bit to take that better feeling choice, before you know it, your life will have smoothed out, and you will be very clear about what your path of least resistance is. Because the path of least resistance is the path that the source within you has highlighted in order to assist you in getting from where you are to everything you want all day, every day. That guidance is